Now, if you're coming from Monument, it's only going to be very quickly. You'll see Mount Herman sign right here. You'll also see the brown sign that says Mount Herman Road right here. So we're going to make a right, and you know you're on the right track when off to the left-hand side, you see this old barn with this old truck that's been sitting there for a long, long time. And now we're going to head up the road here, not very far, before we run out of gravel, or before we run out of asphalt and it turns into gravel. So that's going to come up fairly quickly. So if you don't like washboard, you want to have it a little easier on yourself, you know, feel free to air down. There's going to be a parking lot right there, but we'll talk more about that when we get further up the road. So about 1.2 miles from the turn back there, this is where we go into dirt road. So we are officially off-roading it. And right here at the beginning is this parking lot. So off to our left are hiking trails that will take you down to Monument Rock. I'll show you, here's some footage of Monument Rock. And there's hiking trails off in both directions from here. So if you want to do hiking or mountain biking or something, that's a great place to stop. And then up the road here, we've got some great shots of Monument Rock, which just kind of stands out in the middle of the area here. So really cool place to go take a little hike. So at the 2-mile mark, off to the right-hand side, you'll see another parking lot. This is another popular spot for people to pull over and do some hiking from here. There's also a model airplane club that meets here, and there's a windsock up there so you can see how the wind is. I've never actually seen anybody flying model airplanes up here, but you can. So that's going to be off to the right-hand side there off of Red Rocks Drive. We're going to go to the left on Mount Herman Road, and often this gate can be closed during the winter based on conditions. So it's not really seasonally closed, but if it's just too much snow up here, they will close the gate. I see some damage up here on the right from people driving up on the hill. That's not real cool. But we're going to have some really nice views, and it's going to be a fairly rough road. So I think we're going to find a spot to pull over, air down a little bit, and make for a little more comfortable of a ride. We're making our way up Mount Herman Road, and it got pretty rough, and so we're glad we aired down a little bit. We only aired down to like 20 psi, so nothing crazy at all, just a little bit to kind of help with the washboard, cut down on the noise, make it a little easier on the kidneys. You know, it's just some basics. But I'm glad we did, because it does give you a smoother ride. The views from here are beautiful. Off to the driver's side, you've got a nice view looking down into the valley area. You can see for a long, long ways on a nice clear day like this. And we're just going to continue to work our way up. Now, the road itself is going to be pretty much like this most of the way, but there are some cool side trails, and that's what we're going to try and check out today, and find some cool places to just kind of get off the regular road and maybe have a little bit more fun. Yeah, off to your left as you come up the hill, if you look off to the distance, you'll be able to see the Air Force Academy over there. We're fairly close to it at this point. We're not right on top of it, but you can definitely see some of the buildings over there. At the 4.6 mile mark is another small parking lot area here, but there is a hiking trail that goes up to the right. So it's a nice little one to go check out. Again, if you're into hiking, Mount Herman Road is a great place to go. There's just some really cool spots to check out. But the 4.6 mile mark, that is another one that you might enjoy. Anytime we get to tell the history of a place, it always makes things a little more interesting. But the only thing we could find out about Mount Herman was a very interesting little story about a man named John Herman and his wife Rebecca. John Herman was a beaver trapper who lived in the area around the 1850s. Well, in 1855, his wife got pregnant, and when she was ready to give birth, John ran on horseback down to a neighbor's house several miles away and said, "My wife is having a baby. Can you help us?" And while they agreed to come, as soon as they started to leave, a big thunderstorm came out over the mountain and a bolt of lightning struck and killed John Herman. The next day, the couple found John and Rebecca's cabin, and they found Rebecca dead, but it looked like she had already given birth, and there was no sign of the baby. There were coyote tracks all over the area. Now, several years go by and stories start coming out of sightings of packs of coyotes with a naked young lady with long blonde hair. And there were several sightings of this young lady. So, is it true? We don't know, but it does make for an interesting story. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this on the camera here, but I had to bring the drone down because it's snowing heavily right now. This was not something that we expected today, but
April 24th.
April 24th, yeah, happy Easter. It is Orthodox Easter, yes, to be correct, but it is snowing pretty good right now. Did not expect this at all today. When we left, we had blue skies. It's 40 degrees. The temperature has dropped, and we are going up in elevation. And so, is it surprising? Not necessarily. It's certainly not surprising to have snow this time of year. That's for sure. We definitely get snow all the way up through about Memorial Day. As you get up here, there's more and more of these big giant rocks and cool rock formations and things. So the view changes from just trees into some really cool rocks. The one over there to our left looks like the top of it has melted. I mean, it's just kind of a strange sight over there. Coming up here is going to be the upper gate. This marks the end of your uphill climb. From here, it's relatively narrow all the way to Rampart Range Road. There's a nice scenic spot here and some diverse camping. If you go to your right, you can go do a little bit more exploring, and that's going to be 320. It is going to dead end up here a little ways, but there's a little bit more in the way of obstacles, if you want to call them that. You know, you're not going to get your average sedan going back here. If you can see some of these little whoops that are back here. If you want to stay on Mount Herman Road, you would have stayed to the left and just continued on that way. But we're going to do a little bit of exploring back here, and this is kind of the first opportunity to get off the main road. So as you can see, there's some nice camping areas over here. And when you get to the end of this little side trail, you'll get this little turnaround area. You can definitely camp right here if you want. The view is pretty amazing when it's not snowing.
Look, look, look in front of us under the tree.
There's a wild turkey.
It's a wild turkey.
Hold on. Where's the...
Camera is right here. Open the window slowly. Zoom it.
Okay. Go ahead, nice and slow. That's a beautiful turkey. Back out from this little side trail, in front of us you can see, well, unfortunately, a lot of graffiti, but nice little camp area, little picnic area here. When there's no fire ban, that's a great spot for a fire because it just heats up that rock. And then going out, you can either take an easy line or a little bit of a harder line. And I'm gonna call this first side road up to a maybe a 3.5, maybe almost a 4 in that line that Katarina took back there. So sure, Mount Herman Road is basically a 1/2. You can do some of these side roads and really have some fun. Okay, and you get to this big rock here, and this is back to Mount Herman Road, and we're going to continue off to the right. And there we have it. The gate's over to the left there, and we're going to go straight to stay on the road here. You'll come up on this like T intersection here, and if you go to the right, again, this is one of these little side trails, and it's going to be a little higher up in difficulty. You know, not something I could probably take our Subaru through, but it's going to go back about 3/10 of a mile, and you know, just give you a little bit more area to play around in, do a little camping back here, some more hiking. Just roll it. Oh, and it's really starting to snow again. Kind of crazy. Now this little side trail doesn't go as far as the last one, but it has some interesting terrain here. Okay, we're back. There's the big balancing rock right there. And we're going to continue on. Now, we're not going to hit every little side trail, but there's a few more along the way that are, you know, different levels of fun. These two were probably my favorites along the line. There's going to be another one up here on the right. I'll point it out when we get up there. Okay, right here is another little side trail. This one's a lot easier, but it also goes back to a nice little campsite, little picnic area if you want, you know, depending on what time it is for you. But it's a little easier of a trail than the last two that we did. As we come around this turn, there is going to be another little road off to the left. Now, this one goes back a ways, but we're not going to do it today. We're going to keep going. That one is a higher level of difficulty, and it goes downhill. So what I will caution you on that one is I don't recommend going down there during the winter. There's a lot of shade, there's a lot of ice, and I have had to winch myself out of that. So, you know, we could do it, we could get ourselves out. I've done it before. I just don't really want to mess with it today, but it is quite often during the winter that one gets really tricky because you have ice on these downhills with trees. It can not be a very safe place to be. So we're not going to go ahead and do it today. We'll maybe do it some other time. Up ahead here is kind of another minor little artery off of Mount Herman Road. Right here to the left, that is Powerline East Road. So that goes back. It's about the same as Mount Herman Road. It's just a nice, easy level difficulty. You know, your Subarus, your Kias, you know, your things can go back there pretty easily. But if you're just trying to do some exploring around the area and you've got the time, hit up Powerline East Road. There's the views over there. They're pretty nice. Now coming up here on the left again is another little road. This will be Beaver Creek Road, which is Forest Service Road 315. And you can see that right here on our left right now. 315 over there. I've never gone back there, so I'm not quite sure where that goes, but it looks like it goes pretty far and can reconnect to maybe Rampart Range Road as it circles around. So now at this point we have a pretty straight shot to Rampart Range Road. Now during the winter we can't turn north and go back up through Deckers. We either have to go through Woodland Park or turn around and come back on Mount Herman Road to get back to Monument. So we'll figure it out. There's one more side road that's up ahead, but it's quite a ways, and we'll show you that when we get to it. Snow is really coming down heavy. You can see it's accumulating on the sides of the road. It's on the trees. It's definitely a little bit more than we had expected, which was 0. So, but it's coming down pretty good right now. It's not affecting the road surface at all, but it's definitely coming down. Now we're going to stop right here. This is Rampart Range Road, and this is pretty much the end of Mount Herman. This was Mount Herman Road. It is definitely snowing out here today, but we're going to go have some other fun in the area. But I think we're going to actually go back on Mount Herman Road back to Monument, save up a little bit of time, and head back home. So thanks for watching, everybody. This is Carrie and Katarina in the snow in late April on Mount Herman Road. Stay safe out there. We'll see you on the trails.